So Mel, in general terms, how big of a problem is debt within the UK?
Well, there's a lot of debt in the UK, £1.4 trillion of personal borrowings, including mortgages, which sounds like a scary number, but I think it's important to remember that not all debt is bad. You know, mortgages, we need to be able to borrow finance to fund long-term projects. So a lot of that is actually good debt, but unfortunately debt levels are still pretty high in the UK, and there are a lot of people, you know, still struggling to manage their debt repayments. It's interesting when you look at the demographics of how we live now as a society. We've got an awful lot more parental support going to children to help get on the housing ladder and get through college and university, and that's growing. We're also seeing a lot of debt amongst older people as well, you know, at a time in their lives when you'd like to think that they are financially comfortable and with a plan to repay mortgages. We're still seeing an awful lot of people overstretched in that category. So the demographics of debt and how people are dealing with it have changed. Debt levels themselves are actually stabilising, if not slightly reducing, but there's an awful lot of people still struggling to manage their debt repayments.
So is there, what kind of size, in terms of the volume then, the number of people within the country? There's obviously a group of people that are undergoing some kind of debt solution, but is there kind of your indication of the volume of people that haven't even reached that stage? Probably people like our own kind of viewers who, you know, at that point, well, I know I have a problem, so how big is that kind of number?
It can be a tricky thing to monitor, Darren. There's an awful lot of informal debt solutions out there which are not subject to public monitoring. We believe that there are over 1 million people in the UK of the working population who are involved in some form of debt repayment plan, not necessarily formal insolvency, but the vast majority are actually either in formal, managed debt management programmes where they're being helped to repay their creditors, or indeed repayments that they've made of their own volition with their creditors. I think there's a lot of people still outside of that statistical reporting who are actually struggling to maintain day-to-day payments, so possibly stretching their budget to ensure that debts are paid at the expense of priority debts such as mortgages and council tax, and even general day-to-day living expenditure. Experience tells us, and research that we've actually carried out as a profession tells us, that most people will take a 9-month window from the time they begin to feel a debt problem or recognise that they're going to struggle to actually doing something about it. Now, the longer somebody leaves it within that cycle, the more problematic the issue is actually going to be. And we always say, you know, that there are people with debt problems and there are people with debt management problems. And if you can address the problem at a stage where it's a debt management problem, then potentially you can avoid it becoming a debt problem by doing simple things like working out what your budget is, making sure that all of your expenditure is necessary, and actually putting your payments into order of priority.
Hi, it's Darren Hughes, creator of DebtAdviceTV.com. As someone who spent a considerable amount of time under the overwhelming pressure and burden of debt, with quite severe anxiety and stress that went through it, one of my biggest regrets was that I didn't seek professional advice early enough. That's why I created Debt Advice TV, so that you can have access to not only great professionals who can offer you good advice, but also understand and care about finding the right help and solutions for you. The video that you've just watched is just one of many videos available at www.debtadvicetv.com. If you want access to the rest of those videos and have the ability to ask those professionals questions, leave comments, and interact with getting great advice, then simply just click on debtadvicetv.com in the link in the description underneath this video here now. It'll take you to the registration page where we just ask for your name and an email address just to make sure that you're real. The professionals at debtadvicetv.com are all highly qualified, and more importantly, they care. They understand what you're going through and are there to help you to find the right solution that's available to you. So if you are ready, then you can actually give us a call. You can call us now on 0808 168 9038 and you can speak to one of the team. Thanks so much for watching this video and subscribing to Debt Advice TV's YouTube channel. Take care, but always take action.